outskirts of the modern city of Cairo stands one of the most famous and mysterious monuments in the world, the Great Pyramid at Giza. It was built by the Pharaoh Kufu, sometimes called Cheops, around 2600 BC. In the centuries which followed, these weathered stones, 2.5 million of them, have revealed their secrets slowly, piece by piece. No one really knows why the ancient Egyptians erected these massive structures, but tantalizing clues keep turning up. And sometimes they take the form of buried treasure. In 1954, an underground vault was discovered beneath these capstones near the pyramid's southern base. Inside the vault, explorers found the remains of a boat, a very big boat.
But I remember seeing some.
Farouk El-Baz remembers the stir the find caused.
The news of the day said that we had found a ship that's kind of the funerary boat when they removed the Pharaoh westward, sailing westward with the sun, so that he'd be buried in this place. And a lot of people expected, now they're going to find his body, the mummy, because the Khufu's mummy has never been found.
Tuhami Mahmoud Ali was foreman of the work crew in charge of the excavation.
وكان شعورك ايه ساعتها؟
كنت فرحان عشان وجدنا مركب مش في العالم.
I was delighted because we had found a ship, and the likes of which didn't exist anywhere in the world.
Tuhami was among the first men to enter the vault in nearly 50 centuries. But instead of the pharaoh's mummy, they found a completely disassembled ship, 1,224 pieces of polished cedar, arranged, in the words of one observer, like parts of a toy model. It took 13 years of painstaking labor to put the boat back together. The old shipbuilding techniques, like hand-tying planks to the rails, were scrupulously followed. Naval historians say the boat is an engineering feat in wood, as impressive in its own way as the pyramids are in stone. But even as the vessel took shape, experts disagreed about how it had originally been used. Some said it was simply a funeral barge. Others believed it was a ship for the pharaoh in his afterlife. Hieroglyphs from the nearby pyramid of Unas suggest that a pharaoh was expected to sail 2 boats, one during the day and one at night, as he followed the sun throughout eternity. Other reliefs, like these on the walls of the tomb of Ti, provide documentary evidence of the importance of boat traffic on the River Nile, but shed little further light on the debate, except to show us how the ancient boats were made. But whatever its use, the 142-foot vessel must have made quite an impression then, as it does today. It is the oldest ship in the world. Housed in its own museum, Khufu's boat attracts some 200,000 visitors a year.
For the anchor, and the big one to go to push it away from the bank. But this is small cabin for the captain, and this the big cabin for the mummy of Cheops. This is all cedar wood.
34 years later, scientists are preparing to examine the contents of a second underground chamber, discovered a stone's throw away from the first. But this time, there are no plans to excavate it.
Because I bet if we measure from the...
Dr. El-Baz, director of Boston University's Center for Remote Sensing, and a team of scientists sponsored by the National Geographic Society begin the operation with ground-penetrating radar, which has provided a rough map of shapes below the surface. This space-age approach is helping to solve one of archaeology's thorniest problems: how to explore a site without destroying it. The only digging involved will be scraping away a few feet of loose earth from one of the enormous capstones covering the pit.
Archaeology is no longer a grave robbing activity or a destruction, a way of destroying things until you get the artifacts. It's not because the site itself might be an artifact, to keep it intact the way the ancients had left it. So this is really getting a way of departing from the archaeology the way it was. And we are just opening a whole new way that might apply in many other fields.
The key to the plan is drilling a small hole through the 6-foot thick capstone into the vault. But it must be an airtight hole. When the first chamber was opened in 1954, the air inside was still heavy with the smell of cedar. So there is a chance the air in this vault has been trapped there for over 46 centuries, an invaluable scientific find. Bob Moores of Black & Decker developed a sophisticated airlock that will make sure new and old air don't mingle. Anchored to the rock is a system of O-rings and backup seals. The drill will move through the limestone at the rate of about 4 inches an hour, with frequent pauses to remove dust and debris. Moore's unique design then allows the hole to be closed, while other instruments are inserted. Inside the vault, air samples will be collected and tested for traces of modern air pollutants. If none are found, it might explain why the first ship was so well preserved. Peter Tons of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration will supervise the sampling procedures.
The boat in the adjacent pit to this one was extremely well preserved for 4,600 years. And from what I've heard, it has deteriorated more in the past 20 years than in the previous 4,600. So the Egyptians are not very keen on opening this pit and getting the boat out, or if there's a boat in there, of course, and then have it crumble. So they would like to see what's in there, what it's like in there, and then seal the hole back up.
The drilling operation consumes 1 full day, and another. Then, midway through the 3rd day, Bob Moore's drill moves through the last few millimeters of stone.
Broke through. Break through. Hey. All right.
Wait, I'll thump on this for a little bit. Because I want to feel it.
Now it is time for the rest of the team to go to work. Peter Tons will draw about 70 liters of air from the vault.
Are you going to take any samples for the...
Yeah.
Since the results of the analysis won't be available for months, Tons decides to perform a less scientific examination on the spot.
It smells stale.
Thanks.
It smells stale, guys. No, definitely does not smell like cedar. Absolutely not.
It is nearly midnight before the photographers get their turn. The long black tube is part of the special video system designed by Pete Petrone of National Geographic.
What does monitor look like, anybody?
In order not to affect the temperature inside the vault, a heatless lamp will provide the light.
Turn to the left slowly.
Out of our rag. What you said.
That's the first time we had in the vertical position to work on it.
As the camera begins its slow descent through the hole, everyone gathers around a TV monitor to catch a first glimpse of things that haven't been seen for nearly 5,000 years. An eerie shower of drilling dust signals the camera's entrance into the space which has waited so long in darkness.
Neat.
Good job. Right. Oh,
Oh, nice. God bless Gertie. Hey, okay, you're right. It is a boat.
Yeah.
That's not dirty laundry.
Look
Look at all that stuff on top.
Well, it comes from the ceiling, I think. Ooh, pieces of limestone, I guess.
Right.
Don't you think?
It does look like pieces that flaked off maybe the sealer. Gypsum sealer?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Pieces.
It's like a
That is gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Tuhami has no doubt that he is looking at the pieces of a second ship. The camera shows a notched beam that supported the deckhouse roof, a valuable clue to the length of the ship. Other angles reveal a copper fitting, a stonemason's ancient calculations. Experts believe each piece is part of a ship very much like the first, though perhaps a bit smaller. The obvious damage inside the vault may be due to a brick-making machine used to build a museum for the first ship. It stood directly above this second chamber, vibrating and dripping water. Other details seem to confirm this hypothesis. Wet-looking patches in the roof where plaster has fallen. A pair of ghostly oar blades, warped by moisture.
No, drop down.
And then, something unexpected.
Peter! Quick! Come on here.
4,000-year-old air.
Yeah. Go, officer.
That's
That is great.
Here he is.
ده معلم.
Look at that little dude go. 5,000 years ago.
Righty, Mom, right.
This is daughter of Kufu.
How else could the beetle live? You know, I mean, he has to be breathing air. So if we have a live beetle, that means we don't have 4,000-year-old air. Whatever the results are, bad or good, if they're scientific, that's what we tried to do. We tried to find out. And we did find out there's something living down there.
After taking samples of the air and after looking at it, we know that we have not disturbed the site at all. So this is kind of starting a whole new, opening a whole new door to technology, and I personally believe that this might be a new change to the archaeological exploration, very much like what age dating did to archaeology earlier in this century.
Age dating propelled archaeology from a collector's pastime into a more exact science. Video exploration promises to extend its reach into realms that have always seemed impenetrable. Until now. And for now, at least, there are no plans to restore the Pharaoh's second ship. Soon the camera will be withdrawn, the hole in the stone resealed. Instead of seeing the vessel in all her original glory, visitors will have to imagine what it might have looked like, bearing the Pharaoh down the Nile, or even perhaps through the afterlife, in his relentless pursuit of the sun.